Flood menace in Nigeria has become a normal and reoccurring phenomenon, which sometimes has devastating impacts on human livelihoods and infrastructural development. Reports of several geological surveys attribute the challenge of flooding to natural and man-made factors such as climate change, rapid population growth, poor governance, poor drainage facilities, and decaying infrastructures. The lack of proper environmental planning and management strategies, as well as poor practice of dumping waste or refuse, and coupled with inadequate preparedness, among others, have also accelerated the rate of flood disaster, which often leaves in its wake spread of diseases, loss of thousands of lives from various parts of the country, and properties worth billions of naira being destroyed.
We seem to experience a lot of flood in major cities, Lagos, Asaba. The reason for that is that we often ignore well-developed channels, master plan. There's no construction, there's no development that does not take into account drainage, flood pattern, soil pattern, all sorts of things.
The impact of floods are more pronounced in low-lying areas. In more recent years, 2011 and 2012 appear to be the worst incidents of flooding in Nigeria, with a lot of reported cases indicating how flood menace ravaged affected states of the country when water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon was released.
The international law on dam management is that if your dam is overfilled, before you allow it collapse, if you don't release it, it will collapse. But if you tell your neighboring country that this is what we are going to do, if you don't do it, it will collapse. But the effect is even more precarious in Nigeria because we are the end point.
Flooding remains a recurring phenomenon in most parts of the country, although the degree and seriousness fluctuates. Delta State, as a coastal state, has a peculiar topography that has made most communities prone to flooding and erosion. The fact remains that humans cannot stop the rains from falling, nor stop flowing surface water from bursting its banks. That is why it only becomes important that people prepare for them or take steps to avert the devastating impact.
We have a lot of tributaries of River Niger around the state, so it's prone to flooding at any given time when the rain comes. So what we're doing now, the Ministry of Environment, as directed by the governor, is proactive. We're not waiting for the flood to come. You see what happened last year, that NIMET even predicted that the state is among the states that is going to experience serious flooding, and we should evacuate people from the coastal area to the upland. But we did our best to see to it that people stayed in their homes.
Asaba, the state capital, is flood prone as it is situated at the end of a hill that starts from Okpanam town and the very low valley that stretches to the river Niger. These two factors have perennially made the city a receptacle for flood. With the increase in structural development of the Okpanam axis of Asaba metropolis, the menace of flood had in recent times become a huge challenge, as even the drainage projects done by the previous administrations have been grossly overwhelmed by the large volume of flood.
We have engaged two very notable construction firms, Cetraco and CCC, who are currently working on the flood issue from Okpanam end and also in the Asaba metropolis. And we believe strongly that this will really help. And if you go around the city, you can actually see it. And when you talk about storm drainage, it's really the storm drainage in the true sense of it.
In the face of this huge flood challenge, the administration of Senator Dr. Arthur Ifeanyi Okowa developed a master plan to tackle the menace in the capital city. The project, tagged Asaba Flood Storm Control Project, involved the building of huge water drainage system to contain the massive flood that disrupt traffic and ravage homes in the heart of the city at each rainy season.
We've started 4 major projects in that direction. The one that is draining the Jesus Saves, the other one being done by, because we took different segments of the town, is being done by Cetraco that is going to drain the whole of the DBS area, and another one being done by CCC through the Rafuweche Road that is going to drain off the huge water storm that is coming in from the Okpanam area. All 4 are going on simultaneously, and we believe that on completion at the early part of 2019, we will not have the issue of flooding anymore in the state.
The drain project cut across several major routes. It starts as a normal drain from many arterial streets that connect major roads and progress deeper and wider through the major roads up to the different discharge points.
That this channel we are doing, connecting all these junctions and roads all over, it will reduce the major or the biggest part of the flood. When it is connected to the river, to the discharge, Asaba flood will be reduced drastically.
Since we started doing this project, people passing by always commend the effort of the governor for having brought this type of a drainage system. They say that for the past years, I wish there is a sort of a drainage like this, the problem would have been solved, because it is big enough to carry any volume of water. And it's not only carrying it, it will deposit it right to the river.
The velocity of the surging flood from the hills of Okpanam has been intercepted at the Eagle Square Junction, from where the deep drain channels the water into the Iyabi.
Each time rain falls here, the water flow here is too bad. You can't drive your vehicle to pass here. You can't pass here with your leg. You must off your trousers and pack your shoes. So imagine it, but with this job we're seeing here, we have hope that soon everything will end.
I have to actually take my car to mechanic most of the times because of the water and all that. But with the new drainage system, I think it'll be better. Okowa is actually working, and everywhere around the state, we can see that development has been actually going on. But this one particularly, an accolade to him.
Another remedial effort aimed at rewriting the history of the perennial flooding of Asaba has led the administration of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to construct another deep drain from the Akbu Junction right from the legislative quarters to the Anwai River. This project spans several kilometers and is designed to address the remaining flood from the Okpanam axis.
I've known Okowa as a doctor. I didn't know that he's also an engineer. For somebody to conceive this, you must have a good mindset. You must have a very developed mind. I believe under the constitution of our country, especially section 14.2, the welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. So this, I believe, will secure our people from the impact of flooding. It will also create a sufficient welfare for them so that they won't be afraid when rainy seasons are coming.
This is one of the stormwater drainage channels that is being constructed to control the flood coming down from the upstream from Okpanam end. And this section here is the 3 meter by 3 meter channel going straight to Anwai River. So it will enter the Anwai River after the bridge. So we are taking it through the golf course down.
I want to say kudos to our able governor, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa. I know the flood has reduced because whenever it's raining, man, here used to be messed up before, but ever since the construction of the drainage, now we can move our cars.
Also situated right at the heart of the Mariam Babangida dual carriageway and the DBS road corridor is another giant water channel. This particular channel cut across several streets before passing through the government house, from where it continued yet again to the Anwai River.
The beginning is 2.4, but between here and the Okpanam Road, it has already gone down to 5 meters. So that is why. Yes.
What's the depth of this now?
Here is about 3 meters.
This project is actually for 12 months. That is for 1 year. and it will be completed fully by the end of February 2019. I want to appeal to Deltans, especially those living along this corridor, to please be patient with us. What we are doing is for the good of all. Once it's completed, the issue of flooding will be a thing of the past, and that is what we are all praying for.
Smart Delta. Residents of the DLA Jesus Saves corridor are already feeling the impact of the de-flooding program of the Okowa-led administration, as the deep underground water channel, which traversed several streets and seated right at the center of the Agric Road, has started to convey the large volume of flood to the Amili Mocha River.
Whenever it rains for a good 3 days, you won't be able to go out. You have to fold your trousers, swim the water. But now, if it rains, within say 30 minutes, the whole place is fine. You won't even see a drop of rain. We really appreciate him. The man is trying.
The governor is really doing a tremendous work. During the rainy season, this road, it has never been motorable. Even for people to walk, it has been so difficult. But now you can see the road is better than before. In as much as they are still working, I know they will do a perfect job.
The government are trying. They have controlled the flood from this side, because by this time you can't pass this place. The flood will reach your knee. But now, as rain just fall, the thing will enter through what they have dig and flush into the River Niger.
Perhaps of interest is the depth of the drainages, as well as the dimension and strength of the concrete drain being used by the contractors to execute these projects.
Wow. I have just emerged from the tunnel of one of the major storm drainage projects along DBS Road right here in Asaba. From top to bottom, it's at least 20 feet deep right into the bowels of the earth, and it's wide enough like a dual carriageway. Now this project has been designed to evacuate storm water from Miriam Babangida and adjoining streets. It stretches several kilometers long right through the government house, headed straight for Anwan River to empty its contents. Now what this reminds me of is the tunnel in the UK. The only difference is that this has not been designed to carry human beings, but rather to evacuate storm water. But one thing residents can be very sure of is that they are bound to enjoy drier streets right in the heart of the rainy season. Asaba has never known it this good.
If we are cautious that these debris will block the flow of water and we start disposing them properly, I think it will help these drains, to help the flow of water. Because when these debris are not there, and that's another advantage of the bigger drains, before debris will gather somewhere to block the flow, then it should be a mammoth debris. My own advice is that Deltans should understand that the best way for us to appreciate what the governor is doing by controlling this drain is by not disposing our waste into the drains itself.
Apart from these 4 major storm drainage projects, there is the effort to address all flood-prone areas of the state through major drains. To that extent, there are drain projects going on to establish an effective network, and that has turned Delta State into a constructive site. Many residents are thankful and appreciative of the efforts of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's administration in this regard. They are confident that the drainage and flood storm control project will effectively address the menace of flood in parts of the state.
Okowa, we are very, very grateful. Okowa, you are not far off. Okowa, we are very, very grateful. We are saying that Okowa.
How I wish this governor should be a president of this country. Because this work, in fact, is one of the best work that's been done along this road. So, in fact, it's a wonderful work. Worth commending.
Everywhere flooding. Even grass grew on the road, we can't pass it. But now, it's okay. Okowa is trying.
In order for the flood control projects to be effective, the government has ensured that not only are the major roads in the cities of the state being tarred, there are also deliberate efforts to ensure that all such roads have the complement of side drains to make for effective channeling of flood water to nearby rivers. Residents of the state are elated about this massive infrastructural development.
Smart Delta.
In the light of this, the fears and tales of woes which follow heavy downpours in the state took a different turn in this year's rainy season. Residents of Asaba and other adjoining communities testify to this fact.
Without this drainage being done, the whole Asaba will be in a mess. I really commend him for that.
We are hopeful that at the end of it all, motorists and residents in Asaba will be very, very happy. That means you will now spend less on maintenance of your vehicle.
I know how this place used to be before. Like last year when we are coming back from war, you see some cars floating on the floor, but this year I have not seen anything like that. 80% in Asaba know that the Okowa government is trying. If you enter any keke now, you see them, they are always saying good about the man.
True to his words, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's commitment to tackle headlong the enormous challenge posed by the incessant flooding of Asaba and its environs are quite visible. The administration, through the Ministry of Environment, has dredged the Anwai River to increase its capacity to receive the inflow of floodwater during the rains.
When rain comes, the whole place gets flooded, and we've been longing to see this drainage, and we thank God for Okowa's benefit. And it will also benefit not just the indigenous, it will also benefit the non-indigenous.
Today, fish farmers in Camp 74 who counted their losses in the past due to devastating flood impact in the state now tell a different story owing to the government's intervention.
We really got in intervention when it happened. This sitting governor, Dr. Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, came into our rescue by dredging this waterway and also give each farmer that were affected 150,000 each, and also with a healer's van. So those are some of the interventions that we have gotten from even from the sitting government.
Smart Delta. Welcome to Delta. My Delta, my Delta. Welcome to Delta. My Delta, my Delta. Come live in Delta. Come invest in Delta. Come explore the potentials of our state. You better run, come to Delta State. Come and see the good things where Okowa they do. You better run, come to Delta State. Come and see the good things where Okowa they do. I see your job and work creation in Delta make the youth say them higher. Okowa. I see good roads everywhere in Delta make the people say them cola.
Smart Delta. The state government's partnership with the World Bank and Watershed Management Projects, no doubt, has provided a robust platform that has seen to the rapid progress of ongoing flood control projects in the state. To this end, the smart thinking governor keenly inspects these projects on a regular basis to ensure standards are adhered to.
I've also advised them what they need to do, but what I also need to do is to ensure that I'm more regular with the inspection, because with that, I'm sure that I can put them under enough pressure. They are working hard, but I still believe that they need to work faster than they are doing now, and that means they have to get more hands.
This is the first time I've seen a governor come every time to inspect his work, to actually know how the work is going. And I commend that, because when the contractors see the governor on site, they are happier. And you see them increase the pace of their work, which is what we're experiencing.
The government efforts are not restricted to the state capital. It traverses the central and south senatorial district. At the last count, there is already a technical committee set up to evolve a flood storm control master plan for the city of Warri and its environs. The report of that committee will enable the state government award contract for the Warri flood storm control project. Besides, serious work is ongoing to reconstruct the drainage system on both sides of the whole length of Warri-Sapele Road.
The mandate of the committee is to identify the natural waterways in Efron, Warri, and its environs, and also to ensure that the storm water we intend to introduce in those areas flows properly into the Warri River.
We thank the governor for the backing of this project. Water normally gathers on the road. So with this new construction of this drain, and now right by 900, the water will be able to flow very well. Water will not be able to gather on the road again. And there are discharges at different points of the road whereby the water will be flowing to the river instead of gathering on the road.
You can see the Sapele Road is going on, and a wonderful project. I want to appreciate the governor for what he has been doing, for maximizing the road, enlarging the road. As you can see, I like the handwork, everything is going fine.
Parts of the River Niger and River Ethiop are being dredged to enable them accommodate larger inflow of flood water and discourage flooding of communities, especially during the rains. Communities like Eulu, Ishago, Sapele and Jesse have benefited from the dredging exercise.
God said in Messiah, and that Messiah is a man that he don't want to eat alone. His Excellency Okowa, I cannot say because of party or no party. I'm not playing at the party, but I'm talking what I really say. Because when you see a good thing, you need to say about it. So I feel so happy.
Thank God, the governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, but because of this COVID now, flood will not happen in Uwe local government again.
I will appreciate the state government. They've done well for listening to the cry of the people. If not for the intervention of the state government, we would have not been staying here because the thing is dangerous.
Some of the buildings were submerged in water until the commissioner came with his team to come and open up the canals. And now, from what you are seeing here, is a big relief to us in this community. We want to thank the governor of Delta State, Okowa, for being there for the people.
Government is constantly excavating drainages of sand, refuse and all manner of barricade to ensure the free flow of flood water in times of rains. To this end, the State Commissioner for Environment, John Nani, is regularly on inspection tour and supervises the mechanical desiltation and opening of natural waterways, clearing and evacuation of blocked drainages in Araya, Isoko South and Agbaro in Ughelli North local government areas, and construction of concrete box culverts in Otefe, Ogara and Jesse.
We have gone round to see that what is causing the flooding mainly is the olden days as the Iteto culverts which are recovered. If the debris are coming with the flood, when it gets to where the culvert is, it will get hooked there. So what we are doing now is we're removing the old culverts which are the ring type, the circle type, and we're now putting the box culvert, the rectangular type. We know full well that as the water is coming, if flood is coming, it's going to flow through. Whether there are waste in it or not, it's going to flow through to the discharge points. When the rain comes, it will no more cause flooding in the community.
As part of measures to address man-made factors that are inimical to flood controls, government has constantly mounted surveillance to discover and pull down all structures erected on waterways and has consistently appealed to residents not to carelessly dump refuse in drainages.
We've been sensitizing the people. Don't ever drop your waste on the drain. We have also advocated that all the drains should be properly terminated. This is your project. Government is doing it on your behalf.
Beyond the core objective of deflooding major streets, the construction of the several storm drainage has provided jobs for thousands, both in terms of direct labor and sale of materials.
Since this job is going on, people are being employed to work. People that sell food, those that sell clothes come to sell clothes to the workers. Invariably, money is coming out and it's moving around in circles. It's by the time the month is ending and they start paying salaries, you see a lot of people having money in their hand because from this job, money is spreading. They give to their families, maybe either in Cross River State or in Warri or in Saple, wherever they are. It starts going on. That's one of the good things the project is doing.
If not for this work, I think I'll still be at home doing nothing. I want to say a big thank you to Okowa, the governor, who has been able to put in much to make sure that the youths in Delta State are being employed through such projects.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa is working, and it is hoped that with the support of the people, time and chance will favor him to carry through with his lofty vision of infrastructural transformation of the entire state.
Come to Delta State, come and see the good things where Okowa they do. You better run, come to Delta State, come and see the good things where Okowa they do. I see your job and work creation in Delta, make the youth say them higher. Okowa, I see good roads everywhere in Delta, make the people say them cola. Come live in Delta, come invest in Delta. Come explore the potentials of our state.